Welcome back, seekers of the truth, to this live edition of Power and Glory, the podcast. It's been a while, but Mario Mancini will be back today. I'm not sure if Paul Roma will be joining us, but Mario will be on the line with us shortly here. I am the Master Amir, along with my tag team partner from the Master Fix, the Fixer, Martin Stone. How you doing, my man?
I am absolutely tremendous. We have a lot to cover today, so this is going to be good.
We got a lot to cover, my man, and we are definitely not going to be sugarcoating any of this because I tell you what, the way that it's looking right now, my man, I said the other day that I'd ordered a tombstone and they're already chipping away the WWE logo on it saying it's death date. And we don't champion that. We're not hoping for the WWE to die, but at the end of the day, it's looking like they're going to die, my man. I mean, there's the amount of dirt on that company now, internal bickering that's going on. The news came out, Martin. Now it appears that Nick Khan, the ultimate car salesman, the carpetbagger, the former agent from Hollywood, now WWE president, was falsifying, hiding documents during the investigation about Vince McMahon and also Stephanie, which I can understand that is her dad, and Hunter himself, Triple H. Now, Martin, what happens if Hunter, Stephanie, and Nick Khan get ousted from the WWE? What happens?
Well, I mean, I would have said, maybe Road Dogg will take the helm, but he's been fired too.
That's the latest news as well.
Yeah.
Sheesh, I guess he's not going to be singing with his baby tonight.
No, definitely not. I mean, just more stuff keeps coming out. And whatever is being looked for now is going to be found.
Yeah.
That's like now we're getting down to it now. This clearly isn't going away. So whoever is digging, they are finding more and more stuff. So
we got Mario Mancini just logged on right here. Here he is, the man himself, the celebrity himself. This man has been traveling around the world, ladies and gentlemen. This man is about to become a TV star. He's a screenwriter. He's about to win an Oscar. Ladies and gentlemen, Mario Mancini.
Well, listen, I'm going to start giving you my Gmail address because obviously AOL keeps letting me down here. I got to tell you, everything's submitted. I'm still waiting for the network, which makes sense because season 1 just started.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to, I'm waiting for the network. The network, everything is done, and the network has everything that's edited, and I'm just waiting. The more I'm excited about my action figure came out. It was released Sunday night at 10 o'clock for pre-sale.
Wow.
And there's only 100. And they have 26 left.
Wow, that's pretty darn good. That's a pretty good first run, Mario.
Yeah. And you know me, Amir. You know what? I was like this little minnow in this huge ocean in the wrestling business, and I'm very appreciative and very thankful, for what Sean did in Kayfabe Toys. So I'm really appreciative of what he did.
That's good. What? I'm glad you're getting good news, Mario, because the WWE is in a world of shit right now, my man.
And that's putting it lightly.
That's putting it lightly, Mario.
Well, listen, you know where I am. You know where I'm sitting.
Yep.
So I don't want to go on a long rant, but I'm, you know who I'm for.
Right.
We know that from Hey Roma, right?
Yeah.
But that being said, the Constitution is in the toilet.
Yeah.
You start there, then you go to 3 million pages of the Epstein files that are basically worthless because every name is redacted in the files, right?
Yeah.
And then you got people throwing away evidence. That's obstruction of justice.
Right.
So it's like we're living in an age where the rules aren't followed anymore. So you're still a little young, Amir, but if you go way back to the 70s and 80s, yeah, there was drugs. There were a lot of things. There's always drugs. But
Yeah.
for the most part, the legal system, the federal branch, the legislative branch, everything was still followed.
Yeah.
The rules were followed. We're living in a day and age where there are no rules. You know, it's really funny. You have to excuse me here. I've been having heartburn problems.
Okay.
It's really funny.
I thought you were chewing tobacco right there, Mario.
Well, no, yeah, no. I switched to that.
So if you do, I'll put one in.
that Zyn stuff. So because I was doing a skull and
yeah, because you don't have to spit it, right?
Right. It's giving me heartburn, and you know what? I dread that day. I was so nervous because I was only 18 years old. I just turned 18 6 weeks before I turned pro.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting there in Poughkeepsie, and I'm sitting next to Jimmy Snuka. I'm not looking at him, not saying anything. And he breaks out the Copenhagen, and he goes, "Hey, brother, you want some?" Well, hell, Jimmy Snuka just offered me something.
You can't say no, yeah.
Yeah, right. So I'm there, turning green. I'm like, start getting hiccups. The room starts spinning. You know what I mean? I'm like, but stupid me, and there was no long cut back then. So stupid me, I end up going to a gas station and getting wintergreen. Still a little granules, but it was wintergreen. I started chewing that. And I did quit for a while, but then I did quit for a while, but then life got stressful. When the marriage started breaking down, I went to a gas station and got another 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was in 1999. So I did chew the gum for a while, but that got too expensive, so I went back to the chew. But I've been having a heartburn problem. So thanks, Jimmy. You gave me peer pressure, and I succumbed to the peer pressure. It's bad enough. Well, it's bad enough that I can count every light, how many lights are on every ceiling in a lot of arenas around the country. Because that's what I ended up looking at most nights. So you know,
so did I. That's exactly what I did.
You know, so you know, there are no rules. What I started to say is funny. It was the wild, wild west back then when I broke in '84. There were no rules, man. I mean, women were left on the side of the road, rolled up in a carpet.
Damn.
You know, or rolling out of the carpet naked, going, "How the hell did I get here?" Because they dropped the H-bombs in their drink. You know, they didn't know where they were the next day. So it was crazy times. And I thought the other day before this news came out, wrestling is now more regimented than, you know, the government, you know, the United States, you know what I mean? It's a wild, wild west for the government now. It's like there's no rules. There's absolutely no, you know, obviously, you know, a month from today, I'll be at this job for 31 years. Okay. And I've seen a lot. I've heard a lot, and I've read a lot. I've seen a lot in depositions. But for Bill Clinton to be reading that the transcripts or whatever that he has in front of him, and he's over there, he's laughing.
I know.
If you look, his lawyer reached over and snatched it right away from him because he was laughing too much. Yeah. You know, there's just it's everything has just gone bonkers.
Yeah. Well, it's gone bonkers in the WWE. So, Martin, I'm going to give you the floor to bring us up to premise us with exactly what's going on. If you've just tuned in, right here with Mario Mancini, my co-star from Power and Glory, of course, the fixer Martin Stone from Master Fix. But we're talking about the downfall of WWE because it's inevitable at this point. So, Martin, bring Mario up to speed, bring the fans up to speed with exactly what's happening.
So, something came out this morning to do with the original case.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just pull it up. So WWE's Paul Levesque and Nick Khan have been accused of destroying evidence in the shareholder lawsuit. So obviously that's going to pertain to when the shareholders found money missing and they were trying to trace it all and find out what it was, and it ended up being the hush money that Vince had supplied. So on December 19th, a judge ordered that documents pertaining to the 2022 investigation of Vince McMahon's conduct be turned over to the plaintiffs. A bombshell that was followed up only days later with evidence that suggested Endeavor had known McMahon would be returning to the company months before it occurred. So already there, they put out that big press release saying due to the ongoing accusations towards Vince McMahon, he will not be working at this company. Right. But now documents are coming out that they were trying to bring him back. Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics and Post Wrestling reports that a new motion from plaintiffs has them asking that the defendants, including McMahon, Nick Khan, and Paul Levesque, be reprimanded for alleged destruction of relevant evidence. The plaintiffs claim that McMahon, Khan, Levesque, and non-defendants, Stephanie McMahon and Brad Blum, failed to preserve communications such as messages on the messaging app Signal and handwritten notes from McMahon, despite orders to preserve them being sent to WWE Legal. So they're just, deleting messages and screwing up handwritten stuff and just, trying to cover whatever,
So Martin, let's ask Mario again, the legal himself. Yeah. So Mario, what kind of repercussions do you have if it's proven factual that you messed with this?
Well, I'm kind of confused by the word reprimand, because a lot more can be done beside that. I mean, it's definitely an obstruction. It's done. He knew, he did it. It's wanton, reckless. Basically a reckless disregard for the law. You know what I mean? So to say reprimand.
That's what I thought, Mario. Reprimand sounds like a child. Oh, you're going to go and stand in the corner.
And again, to bring that point up, the way I could be completely wrong, and the way I read that is that they were asking for it, and they're like, yeah, we'll get them to you, and they kept putting it off, and then eventually it's just disappeared. So I don't know if it's kind of like, hey, you had to this date to deliver it. Hasn't been given. Okay, you've got an extension. Hasn't been given. Okay, you got one more, and then now it's all cut like.
Mario, can they do jail time for an obstruction of this nature?
Well,
okay.
Let's go through this. So it's like any other lawsuit, right? You file a lawsuit, and after the lawsuit is returned, it's usually 21 days, and believe it or not, it should be on a Tuesday. Don't ask me. Yeah. Then the discovery process starts.
Yeah.
And if you fail, if you fail to in a civil suit, when you fail to comply with discovery, they can file what's called a non-suit.
Okay.
For failing and they can dismiss the case for failure to comply with discovery. But here's the thing that I'm wondering. They have a lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the lawyer's responsible for the discovery.
Okay.
So now I'm wondering if the lawyer could file sanctions against the lawyer, which his lawyer is going to turn around and go, listen, I'm not paying these sanctions, you are.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends you know me and Mary. You get frustrated with me because I don't follow a lot of I don't follow a lot of things.
No,
But
again, I just saw this all drop this morning. So
yeah, tell me what they're trying to prove again in this case.
Yeah, Martin, go ahead.
Yep, let me pull the rest of it up. So, the plaintiffs further claim that Khan was the main culprit behind the lost evidence, suggesting he spearheaded the signal communications between all involved. Khan is further alleged to have used Signal due to its auto-delete function, which allows users to set messages to delete whenever they choose. Based on the available context, the plaintiffs also claim that Khan deleted text messages, which include merger discussions and the investigation of alleged misconduct by McMahon.
So trying to cover up, basically, they try to hide McMahon's misconduct with Janelle Grant. They were trying to hide that information. They were trying to bury it. It was a concerted effort between the car salesman, Nick Khan, Paul Levesque, my Uncle Paul, Stephanie, and then this other guy, this Bloom guy.
All right, so who does that hurt?
Who does it hurt? Who does it hurt, Mario?
The victim.
Janelle.
The victim.
Janelle.
It can only. It can. Which would be the plaintiff, right? That's the only person it hurts.
Correct. Yeah, correct. Correct.
Okay.
It's hurting Janelle Grant. So, when it comes to that, let's say her case is worth $3 million. Due to the wanton and reckless behavior, Janelle Grant's lawyer can turn around to the judge and say, "Listen, we have evidence that was destroyed, and it was done intentionally and recklessly. And when you use that word reckless in a civil suit, that brings in treble damages.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're getting awarded $3 million, they're going to give you 9.
Wow.
Right. So it's just like Vince McMahon's car accident, right? He was being followed by an unmarked state police car that had him clocked over 100 miles an hour. Well,
by the way, Mario, just before you begin, I don't know how the hell they didn't cart him off to jail. Yeah. They just said, "Oh, you'll be on your merry way in a few minutes."
Anyway, you got to appear in court in 20 days.
Not only didn't they cart him off to jail, they said, "Nice meeting you, Mr. McMahon. I wish it was under different circumstances.
Yeah.
Have a nice day."
Yeah, yeah.
You know, So the car accident, he was going over 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
That's reckless.
Yeah.
So if somebody were to sue him in that car accident, they're entitled
to someone. So
they're entitled to treble damages.
Wow.
Okay, so I want to backtrack a little bit here because we're talking about Janelle Grant. I don't know if you saw it, but Janelle Grant was part of a press conference, which I believe dropped last week.
About a week ago, yeah.
About a week ago, right. She had actively said that she had moved on. She'd got a new job. She'd got a pretty good job, and she was ready to put this part of her life, like put it in a box, tie it in a bow, and throw it away.
Not the same box that idiot came out of Dickhausen. But anyway, I digress. Go ahead.
Well, no, because, that's a whole different kettle of fish.
Go ahead.
But then Janelle Grant then was contacted and said there is going to be news in the Wall Street Journal about everything that happened between you and Vince. You have to be a part of this. Mm-hmm. So she wasn't the one that filed
the initial
initial thing. She was basically forced into it because she even stated she had to pay 6 figures of her own money to be a part of this lawsuit.
Meaning Mario, in a sense, somebody
leaked into prosecuting. Yeah,
somebody leaked it because somebody had it out for Vince McMahon.
Yeah, it's
right. The first thing that comes to my brain is usually cases like that are taken on a contingent fee.
Okay.
They're taken on let's look at Rita Marie's case. She didn't pay her lawyer a dime. He took it on a contingency, and he took a third when it settled.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it was legal for them to take a fee if she signed a contingent fee agreement.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know if they were if that what state Connecticut lawyer
she's in Connecticut. Janelle Grant. She said this herself, Mario.
Yeah, she
own
said
words
this herself.
Her own words.
She did a press conference. Yeah. It's 15 minutes long. She goes into detail, and literally she clear as day states, I was done with this. I'd changed my job. I'd relocated in Connecticut, and then she got contacted.
Well, basically blackmailed. Hey, this is coming out about you in the Wall Street Journal. You got a day, and it's coming out tomorrow.
Oh. It's
so somebody leaked the NDAs.
You're telling me that she was forced into litigation?
Yeah,
that's
pretty much.
She states, yeah.
That's what she stated, Mario. I can send you the video.
That's terrible.
Yeah, exactly. She was done with it.
Yeah,
she was done with she was just like, I just wanted to be done with it.
Yeah.
So she resigned, got a new job, she'd moved, everything.
Yep.
So she packed it all up and she was done with it.
So Mario, here's the train of events. In 2022, the Wall Street Journal publishes that story about Janelle Grant. In 2023, Vince gets outed from the WWE. At the beginning of 2024, Janelle Grant's lawyers file that civil suit. So 2 years after it comes out, she didn't start this. She didn't start it. Didn't start it. I say somebody's out to get Vince out of that company, and they're doing a damn good job at it. Somebody leaked those NDAs to the Wall Street Journal, Mario, and it wasn't Janelle Grant.
Because my wild theory was that it would have been someone on the board because they were trying to get power. That was my wild theory. But now with this new light, they're all involved trying to bring him back. So there goes my theory.
No, but it's still Mario. Go ahead.
You can't force someone into litigation.
Well, what if she said she had to, maybe she spent her money to try and protect her name or something like that, or, get protection of some sort because she knows.
No, I'm going to tell you what happened was, and I hate to say this, I do. To me, she was in a corner. She was stuck in the corner, and we all get stuck in that corner. In different ways, meaning, you're at a miserable job and you hate your life, but it pays you so much money you can't quit. I think she got stuck in that. But the problem she has is, and I hate to say it, is she's not going to be innocent in this thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? She played
the NDAs.
Yeah, she played the game.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'm sure she has flirtatious stuff in there herself, whether she meant it or not, because condos were coming, cars were coming, money was coming.
As what I said, I'm sure in the stuff that she released that happened, and obviously all the text messages and all the phone records that came out, I'm sure when she signed the NDA, it probably none of that was stated what was going to happen. All it's going to state is, she, again, potentially looked at it and just went, sleep with my boss and get a pay raise and a higher. Okay. It's not, obviously, it's not going to be like in detail as to what she's going to have to do, So it's.
Right.
There were also reports, Mario, that she actually loved Vince McMahon. She wanted to be with him. So there's a lot more coming out to this story now.
Yeah. But you know what? When it comes to a jury, you have an employer taking advantage of an employee. That's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what it's going to come down to. And Vince is going to take the hit for passing her around, and he's going to take the hit for anybody in that company that had anything to do with having any relations with her that was employed by that company under the doctrine of what's called respondeat superiors. Respondeat superior means your employer is responsible for the actions of their employees.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm sure the lawyer's going to throw that in too. But you know, I don't think it's a slam dunk. You just go in there and make Vince a big monster, and they're just going to award her, a $500 million. You know what I mean? So, but the point of them, deep sixing evidence. I'm trying to think about her statement. My brain is racking about her statement because I'm wondering I'm just wondering if it can come in because the definition of hearsay is any out of court statement offered to prove the truth of the matter, right? So if you make a statement under oath, it comes in. If you make a statement in a deposition, if you make a statement in a previous trial, you were under oath, so that comes in. You know what I mean? So it's like not even a police report comes into evidence in a civil case because it's called totem pole hearsay because the driver made a statement of how the accident happened to the police officer. At that point, then the police officer transcribed it on paper.
Right.
So you have different levels of hearsay. But it's a direct statement from a party opponent. Mm-hmm. I would just have to research it was published in a newspaper that it can actually come into evidence. But you can't. At this job, listen, I'll give you an example. Like, and it's happened so many times over the years. Let's say you and me, Amir, right? We're in your car. Mm-hmm. We get rear-ended.
Which one? With the Bentley or the Benz?
We're in your Benz.
Okay.
So we get rear-ended, gets totaled.
Okay.
We get the police report. You say, Mario, take care of this. You know how to take care of this. I go, yeah, I call it in. And they go, well, unfortunately, their policy lapsed a month ago. They have no insurance.
Okay.
Okay. So now I call you up and I go, Amir, they have no insurance. You go, what do we do now? I go, well, we got to go under your policy under uninsured motorist.
Okay.
And you go, that means, Mario, there's a potential for you to sue me. Mm-hmm. And I go, yeah. And you go, well, you really going to do that? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's going to ruin our friendship. And I go, no, let's just let it go. I've had plenty of people call me going, look, there was no insurance on the other side. I'm driving with my best friend. I'm not suing him.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Could we file a lawsuit anyway? No. So you can't, if you don't want to be represented by a lawyer, and if you don't want to go forward with a claim, you don't. And then to hear that she had to cough up her own money on something that should be a contingency.
Yeah.
Listen, you go in for a divorce, you get caught selling a kilo of cocaine, you have to sign a retainer agreement. You got to pay that lawyer up front. When he bills you by the hour, when that retainer's up, you got to give him more money.
I'll cough it up.
Yeah. You know what I mean? You get in a car accident, like these guys on TV will tell you, we don't get paid unless we win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a contingent fee agreement. They don't get paid their third unless they win the case. This is a civil case against Vince McMahon that would award her money.
Yeah.
They're not representing her for any wrongdoing she did.
So yeah, let me get this straight. And before we go any further, Mario and Martin, if you're new to the channel, if you haven't done so already, make sure you powerplex that subscribe button right now. Make sure you hype it. Make sure you share it. Make sure you like it. Help us get into the algorithm. Also, load up your super chats. We're here for you today. This is a live stream. So if you've got a question, if you want to ask a question, you got to hit a super chat. Or you can join and become a channel member for just the price of a cup of coffee. You guys spend more than that at Starbucks every week. For $4.99 a month, you can support this channel. You get a free question answered on every single live stream. We'll bring you up in the chats, so make sure you do that right now. Coming back to so Mario, what you're saying here is that literally through all of these atrocious things that have happened with Vince McMahon, Janelle Grant, now my Uncle Paul, who did text me, by the way, gentlemen. He says he's going to leave the country. But anyway, that's by the by. But none of these people can get jail time because it's all civil. It's only money.
Well, listen. Vince never got arrested for what he did. I mean, they just withheld discovery. That's what they did. They withheld discovery, and they can get sanctioned. They could get fined.
So basically, they can get a slap on the wrist. Don't do it again, and it's
right.
all.
Yeah. So it's like the other side. There's a lot of things they could file. There's additional things they can file. They can claim that some of the people that aren't named are now an indispensable party, and they could name them in the lawsuit. They can bring them. You could modify the pleadings anytime, right up to trial. In a lawsuit, you can do a cross complaint. You could add an indispensable party. You could do anything you want right up to time to trial. You can always add people. You could there's a lot of things they could do. They can file a non-suit. They can the other side can file a motion to dismiss because there's the lack of evidence. But that was intentional. So I don't see how a judge would grant a motion to dismiss.
So Mario, okay, here's what we got on the table then. Of course, you haven't been following everything because you have a life and you're not wasting your time on WWE. But at the end of the day, since January, they've been going down the toilet. It started at the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia, an arena that was basically not even sold out, even in Saudi Arabia. You got the extortionate ticket prices, $50,000 for front row tickets at WrestleMania, not even sold out. We know what they did last year, Mario, because you and I were there. We thought we were heading to New Orleans this year. They pulled the plug for money to go back to Vegas. Fans were pissed off with that. They have not sold out WrestleMania in Vegas at this point. They have changed their card style. You know they're only doing 4 matches per pay-per-view, Mario. They just did a pay-per-view, Elimination Chamber, 4 matches in 3.5 hours. 4 matches.
Because I tell my students and like I tell the general public that want to talk to me about it, the wrestling comes last.
Yeah.
It's the marketing, it's the advertising. You're talking to the wrong guy.
Yeah.
You're talking to the wrong guy, a guy that was around the Samoans and Rocky Johnson and Tito Santana and Don Morocco. And, of course, when I was in, it was all about the wrestling. As I always said many times on this podcast and many other, I was very excited going to wrestling school when I was 17 years old in 1983 because I wanted to break into the wrestling business.
Yeah.
I wanted to break it. I wanted to wrestle. Okay. So if somebody said to me at 17, listen, the wrestling is really not, and you're really breaking into the entertainment business, I would have said, well, I'm not interested in that. And I think I would have pushed more for my baseball career. I was going to be interested in that. You know what I mean? So, that's why you only see 4 matches because they don't give a damn. They don't give a shit. They don't care about the wrestling. And when you think about the wrestling, there's nothing to it.
No.
You know what I mean? There's no I tell the students all the time, like, I'm going to be 60 in 3 months. And I go, I can get in there for 12 minutes and not touch you for 5 minutes, not even lay a finger on you. And I promise you, I'll have everybody off their feet.
Yeah.
And Amir, I go like this. I go, all I need is one popsicle stick. And I can do that.
Okay.
I can do that with one popsicle stick. Because all of my mentors all of my mentors are rolling over in their grave. Gorilla Monsoon, Chief Jake Strongbow, Arnold Skolin, Pat Patterson. I always say inside the lines, Pat Patterson was a genius.
Oh,
Yeah.
he was such a great, just literally the best finishing guy ever. Like,
He was a genius. Outside the lines, Terry Garvin, Terry Garvin, same thing. All these guys taught me the business, and they're rolling over in their graves because these guys too were wrestlers. You know what I mean? And there was always, as Chief would say, there was always the gaga.
Yeah.
And there was always the work and the kayfabe and the marks and all that other lingo we used back then. You know what I mean? But that's all dead too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that that you're only seeing 4 matches. I just don't know. I just don't know when it's going to end. I think it's pretty close. And
Yeah.
what I'm wondering is what's going through the mind of TKO.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Are they saying, "Damn, why did we do this?" Jesus, because as I always explain, because I broke in 8 months before WrestleMania 1, so I watched all this. I've watched all this unfold.
Yeah.
And it was so glamorous, and Cyndi Lauper, and I met Danny DeVito and Joe Piscopo, and I met so many people, and it was so glamorous, and it was so chic, and it was the in thing, and but I always compare it to that very short-lived. I'm very pissed off that it was short-lived. This HBO series called Carnival. I was a huge fan of that show.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Yeah.
It was fantastic, and it reminded me of the wrestling business because you have this big glamorous carnival out there, and everybody's having a good time, and they're bringing their kids, and everybody's eating cotton candy, but behind the scenes is just all smut and crazy, and that was the wrestling business. We had this big thing going on, but behind the closed doors of the dressing room was the wild west. Nobody cared, man. It was like still 1979 as far as some of those guys were concerned. So it was but my question is, when's it enough? When's it enough? When did it start? I was there for that meeting when Sheik and Hacksaw got caught in the same car, and there was a meeting at that TV, and Vince came in, and he whipped his blazer off and threw it on the floor. God damn it! And I'm like, whoa. I mean, it started with that, and then to the Ring Boys, and then Rita had her thing, and then there was the steroid thing that he went through, and the Rita Marie thing he went through, and when is anybody gonna say, listen, it's just never gonna be a clean business? I remember I actually ended up breaking down when I did an interview for the documentary that's still not out, that I did for HBO Max. Is almost 2 years now.
Yep.
And the executive producer that was interviewing me for it was like a pre-interview to the actual filming. It was a Zoom. And she said, Mario, what would make you happy? What do you want to see? And I said, I want to see people go into the wrestling business and making it on their own merits. And that really just, I got overwhelmed by that because people go, you know, when I would do house shows and I'm walking to my car, they go, geez, that was a hell of a match with Mike Sharp. Boy, you really good. Hey, how come you don't do that on TV? Well, and kayfabe was alive a while ago. Well, Mike Sharp's a little more near my level. I can't do that on TV because they put me with these big, experienced superstars that are so much bigger than me. It's hard for me to do on TV what I do here. Oh, yeah, that's true. And, you know, you protect the kayfabe, right?
Protect the business.
Well, yeah. So, you know, and I would tell people that, listen, they go, why didn't they give you a push? I go, I didn't have three things. And Amir, this gets everybody. It never doesn't get a laugh. So I didn't have three things. The first thing I didn't have is when I get off the airplane and a 6-year-old goes, Mom, is that Uncle Al? And they go, no, but it looks like Uncle Al. And then Roma gets off the plane with a tank top and they go, who the hell is that? I didn't have that.
Mm-hmm.
I could mix in a crowd very easily. So that's a problem right there, number one. Number two, I didn't have a bloodline. My father worked in a ball bearing factory for 43 years. He wasn't in the wrestling business. So I didn't have an automatic open door. Number three, I wasn't gay.
No.
So that, which was rampant back when I was in. And, you know, some guys quit over it, you know, because the harassment was too much.
Yeah.
So, you know, some guys got disgusted about it and quit because it was too much for them to handle.
Yeah.
So, you know, you would think after all of that, and you get a legit company, TKO, to come in.
Yeah. Well, you say legit. They are Hollywood. We know Hollywood is full of scumbags, Mario.
Well,
let's be honest. Come on.
Amir, listen. You could see that. And TKO could have cleaned up their act and said, listen, we didn't get caught yet, so we all have to stop because they did, and look what they're going through. Or they're a legit company with integrity that didn't go for that BS, but they merged with a company.
Tarnished.
They merged with the devil there. So, you know, the boys are going to be the boys, right down to, I always tell this story. We'd be in a fourth town. Okay, so fourth town is a high school in Pennsylvania. And you got the Wild Samoans are on the card, you know, maybe Mike Sharp and maybe you get a Tito Santana there or whatever. And there was always one guy, always, that we would scream kayfabe, and the agent would go, this guy would like to come in the dressing room, which is taboo. But the agent knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
So the guy would come into the dressing room and go, I own Walt's Steak and Ale down the street, and everybody's invited to come there and eat. And I would turn around and go, oh. Oh. Afonseca would sit down and go, we'll have 3 T-bone steaks. And the guy just didn't know what he was getting himself into.
Yeah.
You know? He just didn't know.
The boys will always be the boys, won't they?
Yeah, and you know what? He took the words. That was my end. You see the connection here, Amir? That was my end. I was going to say, when it comes to the wrestling business, whether you're Vince McMahon or you're a worker or whatever, what he just said was going to be my exact statement. The boys will always be the boys. Always.
Well, I think to a degree. I mean, I think now what we're seeing, Mario, not everyone, not all, but many are not that anymore. We get a lot of imbeciles, a lot of overgrown children who are in the business now who don't care. Point in case, the corporate man, Philip, CM Punk, the former CM Punk, coming out this week, posing with belts around his waist, posing naked, being an idiot at 50 years of age. I mean, this kind of idiocy to get viral moments is pathetic. That's not somebody who cares about the lineage of professional wrestling. But my bigger question to the two of you, and Martin, I'm going to bring you back in on this one, my man.
Okay.
With all the bad press and all the hatred that is coming at WWE now, the lack of ticket sales, not being able to sell out arenas anymore, darkening the Elimination Chamber because they didn't sell out, how much longer do you think WWE legit has, of staying relevant at this point? Legit. If all this comes to pass, that it's all...
if it all comes to pass and it all goes down and it's in the headlines, and because obviously if this all plays out and, Vince is found guilty or whatever and everything comes out, then it's going to make national news headlines. And then that's when it's going to be the biggest issue. But deep down, no one wants to see that company disappear off the face of the earth.
Correct.
Because at the end of the day, I wouldn't be a pro wrestler if it wasn't for my cousin sitting me down when I was 6 years old and putting on Wrestling Challenge and WWF Superstars. I would have never got into the pro wrestling business if it wasn't for that.
That's my story. Yeah.
And so in an ideal world, none of this would have ever have happened and it would be squeaky clean. But that's not the reality we're living in right now. I think, honestly, it's going to all depend. Empty arenas, not so great ratings, extortionate ticket prices. That, honestly, for me, that will do more harm than all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes right now.
Yeah,
that's going to do them more harm in the long run. If this all comes to light, you've then got a double whammy. So then what will happen then is parents of kids that want to go and cheer Roman Reigns and wave foam fingers and stuff, the parents are then going to say, you ain't watching that. That place is run by God knows what. Mm-hmm. That's when the issue becomes a problem. So, with the way the ticket sales going, I can see them being like by the end of this year, I could see it being, mid. When was their real down period? It was like the mid-90s, right?
Mid-90s, 95 is when they went to those smoke-filled arenas.
Again, potentially I could see it being like that by the end of the year if something doesn't get turned around. ESPN released, there was a thing that came out with ESPN saying that they feel that TKO and WWE really isn't blending with what, like, the ESPN vibe, which was basically your biggest show is not sold out. Your small shows are not sold out. Ticket prices are through the roof. Like, our subscription service is down. What's going on? So now you've got outside investors that are like, hey, what's happening? Yeah. So I'm going to say by the end of the year, and again, I really hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm proven wrong. But I would say by the end of this year, they will be where they were mid-90s.
I think that's a good explanation there. And again, we got a lot of people in the live stream right now. So if you haven't already, PowerPack that subscribe button. Stop living in the shadows. Step out and live into the spotlight with us, the leaders in sports entertainment podcast, the masters of wrestling, right here on this Power and Glory live stream with my two co-stars, former WWE superstar Mario Mancini, former NXT superstar Martin Stone, the Fixer. Make sure you hit that subscribe. Make sure you join and become a channel member for just the price of a cup of coffee, $4.99 a month. Make sure you like the video, hype the video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends and family. And, of course, load up your super chats. Ask us questions. Get involved in the conversation. We'll bring you up on the screen. I think that's a good way of looking at it. And Mario, I think Martin just said it right there. If this continues for another 7 months with the high prices and the insulting of the fans, they brought out that stupid former AEW wrestler who was basically hired by AEW for 4 years. They only aired him one because they realized how pathetic he was. Now he debuted. They made a big deal out of it. He basically tried to reduplicate the gobbledygooker from Survivor Series 90. Didn't come out of an egg, came out of a crate. Everyone was so disappointed. It was abysmal. And so they keep doing this to the fans. They keep insulting. What did Vince say back in the 90s, Mario? Didn't he say, We at the WWF don't want you to insult your intelligence. I remember he said that statement. But now, here we are in 2026. They're insulting the fans every single week.
Well, I do have to agree with Martin. I mean, that is my same story. I mean, when I was in 1973, when I was 7, my brother showed me Bruno Sammartino, and that was it. That was it for me. Amir, I'm really going to teach you something about the wrestling business right now.
Go ahead, this master. Okay, hey, Mario, hold on. If you're going to do that, I'm going to charge every single one of these people in the live stream. You better all donate $100 right now.
Can I just do a quick shout out real quick? I know we don't usually do it unless it's a super chat, but
Go
John
ahead.
Woodmass 2849. I just hope it is all untrue. I care not if it is adults doing adult things. I hope it does not affect WWE. We grew up on it.
Okay.
If I'm going to say this because it's the truth.
Is this your master educational section?
No,
Mario?
I'm going to say this. No. This is Strongbow. This is Tony Altomar in my head, my trainer, and Vince McMahon himself. God, dying to see if Martin's going to agree with me. Listen, there was. Oh my God, his name is escaping my head. It sucks getting old. Oh my God, evangelistic preacher back in the 80s.
Oh, what's his name? Billy Graham?
No. Fat guy.
Hagee?
No. Fat guy.
I don't know who this guy is.
Anyway, Hustler magazine on the inside cover said he had sex with his mother in an outhouse.
What?
He had sex with his mother in an outhouse.
It's disgusting.
Jerry Falwell.
Okay.
Jerry Falwell sued Hustler magazine.
Okay.
It went all the way to the Supreme Court.
Was his name Jimmy Swaggart?
No, Jerry Falwell.
Okay.
All right.
And it went all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States. And Falwell lost because of freedom of speech, and it was a parody. So basically, Hustler magazine's lawyer, Larry Flint's lawyer, went in there and said, "Listen, if you censor this, you're going to have to censor late night talk show hosts who do parodies, comedy shows that do parodies." And they agreed. They're like, "No, this was a parody. You know, dismissed."
Mm-hmm.
I know where you're going with this.
If Vince McMahon, his music hit, and he walked out like Mr. McMahon about all of these allegations, and he looked with his sick attitude and went, "I don't care because I'm Mr. McMahon and I'm a billionaire and I get to do whatever I want whenever I want," the place would pop.
Yep.
Pop.
We got a troll in the chat right here. Some guy right here. This guy's getting on my nerves right here. You see that, Martin, right there? Keeps talking about how popular WWE is. You see that, Mario? Can you see the comments right there at the side of your screen?
No, I can't see the comments. No.
Every so often, I see somebody who's completely ridiculous in their comments here. First of all, they believe everything they read online. You know, obviously, by what they're looking at here, they can't use their own two eyes to see what the product is and what it isn't. So anyway, I'm not going to name names because I don't want to name this degenerate. But if you know other viewers, other loyal viewers, you know what I'm talking about. You need to get this guy out. You need to jump on this.
So they would pop, and if he did a storyline,
yeah,
but he starts the arenas would start selling out again.
Yeah,
you know, when I did Cheap Heat with Maurice from Ireland, and that first time Vince McMahon resigned, I did the podcast, and he goes, "Well, Mario's gone," and I started laughing. I must have laughed for about 30 seconds straight. That's a long time to laugh. And he's like, "Why are you laughing?" I go, "What are you, delusional?
Yeah.
He's not gone.
No.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
not gone. He'll never be gone until he's dead.
Yeah.
That's when he'll be gone.
Exactly.
That's
See,
when he'll be gone."
Part of my thing, I genuinely thought he was going to end up coming out the box because I said, I bet they try and do a storyline out of this.
That's a good angle, though, right there. He should.
It would have been, yeah, everyone. It would have been amazing. Like I would have popped for that. Like, like what a way! Everything that had gone on in the media, and then you come out and do that.
But doesn't it show something to the point, Mario, you were saying we live in a fallen state. We live in a fallen world. It's clearly obvious. I mean, the world is not what it was 20 years ago. It's actually become rather pathetic. But even if someone were to come out, like you said, the pop that he'd get, the adulation he would get, despite crashing into a vehicle, despite all these things he's done that are deplorable, he would just get a pass. He would instantly be the biggest star in professional wrestling.
At
Bigger
80.
than, yeah,
At 80, he would be over like crazy because you know what? I wish I was there because you know what? I just got done telling Roma this last week. I go, Roma, you know the truth? Between 84 and like 88, Vince was great.
Yes, he was.
He was fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm appreciative. I never sold one ticket. You know what I mean? I'm a carpenter. I can't draw you a house, but I can build you one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I didn't sell one ticket. He didn't have to hang on to me for almost 8 years. He didn't have to do that. And look what these guys have to go through these days. I mean, Brad Baylor just took the NXT Tag Team Championship belt. He's out of Paradise Alley. You know, and they finally signed Holiday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
pray to God they use. I pray to God. I told you, Mara, that they use him wisely.
But are they at? And I'm not saying where they're at is a bad place. It would be great. But they're not up there.
No.
Here I am, this pudgy 18-year-old kid, walking right into the WWF.
Yeah.
Right, hey kid, you're working with Valentine tonight. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, and I stayed there until I don't know when it was April. My last match was against Rick Rude in April of April of '91.
Yeah.
You know, Vince didn't have to hold on to me. I was not significant. He could have looked at Patterson and said, "Listen, don't book him, and I don't want him at TV. Get rid of him." You know what? He cared so much. And this is an embarrassing story to tell. I had separated my AC joint. And because I could never drop kick, and I'd be damned. I'd go back into the wrestling school, and I'd try to drop kick, and I separated my AC joints, and I couldn't work out. Well, I kept eating. Do you know he could have got rid of me? So I go all the way to UNLV. I go all the way to Vegas, and I look at 3 hours on the board. I go, hey Chief, I didn't come out here to gamble. Came out here to wrestle. He goes, well, Mr. Mancini, Caesar seems to think you gained a couple more pounds. So you're off the roster tonight. I go, what? Uh-huh. Yeah. I was 3 weeks later at the next TV, I was 37 pounds down.
Wow.
And I did all 3 hours that TV. He put me on all three hours. He didn't have to give a shit about me. He could have said, you know what? The guy might have been injured, but while he was injured, he ate too many pizzas. Get him out of here. He never did that. He got mad.
Yeah.
He got mad. And he said, listen, tell me and see, drop a couple pounds. And I did. And I was on Tuesday Night Titans. He didn't have to say bring Mancini in. You know what I mean? He could have had other guys on there. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I know that he he was like the rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
He was like the rest of us. We'd go there to work, and then we'd try to get laid.
The problem with WWE right now, Mario and Martin, is like you said, you described a very, not family in the sense of PG, but a family environment in which you guys were a band of thieves together going down the road trying to put on entertaining shows and make money. Okay. But it was designed for family entertainment outside in the arena.
Yeah,
and
listen, whoa, Amir, listen to me. You go on YouTube. You go on YouTube and go into 1977, 78, 79, 80 Madison Square Garden shows, and you tell me how many kids you count in that crowd.
Back then, no, I mean, if we're going into the 80s and 90s,
well,
early 90s.
You're talking about the action figure, and I did the show in that ballroom in New York City when they released the action figures. They did a wrestling show, and myself and Gino Carabello were on that show. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know that the Saturday morning cartoon, the whole 9 yards. I know what you're talking about, but the mentality was still back there.
Yeah.
You know, it was still
caught up yet.
You know, it was still back. For God's sakes, I was in Canada, and I look up at the board, and I'm like, the 6th match on the 3rd hour. I went.
Yeah, being on the last one when it's in the can sucks.
I'm like, I'm not.
Crowd are dead. They've seen everything. You're like, what am I going to do?
I'm not going out there until like 10 minutes to 11. Call time's 5 o'clock. So I go around the corner. I got my boots and trunks on and tank top. I go around the corner, outside the dressing room, around the corner where there was a steel barricade. The fans were there. And this one girl I had that one line. I go, is there something that you want? She goes, you know what I want. It was pouring rain in Brantford, Ontario. It was pouring. I take her out to the rental car in my boots and trunks on. It was pouring. So I go in the back seat with her, right? I'm like, I'm not on for another 3 hours. You know, I'm not on for hours. She already started. I'm not on for almost 3 hours. So I go back in with this big smile on my face. I'm looking at Roma. Hey, Roma, how you doing? I'm all soaked. He goes, yeah, they changed it to the 1st hour. And I'm like, yeah, good, that nice rib, Roma, that nice rib. Oh. So he goes, I'm not ribbing you. I go, yeah, good rib. So Strongbow comes around the corner. He goes, and he's got that rolled up piece of paper in his hand that he always has. And he's, Mancini, where the hell you been? Where the hell have you been? I go, I had a headache, Chief, and I went to the store to get some aspirin. And he looked at me head to toe, and my boots were full of mud. He goes, you're lying to me. You're giving me the gaga. You're giving me the gaga. You're lying to me. He goes, no, Chief. He goes, you better wipe all that shit off. You're out in 2 matches and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, so you know what? Yeah, nobody's innocent in this thing. Right. That's the way the business was. Yeah. And you know what? You think I would have been set for the night, but when the show was over, we went out and I was looking for even more. So, you know, I'm not innocent in this stuff. You know what I mean? Everybody did the same thing. But because I'm the last of 6 kids in a very tight-knit Italian family, and my mother and father were married for 65 years, no means no. Yeah. And I never went beyond no. Yeah. I never went beyond no, ever. Yeah. I never took, no, can I at least buy you a drink? Boom, there goes the H-bomb, and you get her anyway. Never. No was no. Yeah, you know what I mean? So,
no, I mean, it was the crazy, like you said, the wild, wild west. I think, you know.
Again, that wasn't just wrestling, though. That was everything.
That was movies. I told you guys before. I mean, I told you before. You know, Mario, there used to be a line item in movie budgets for cocaine and drugs. Yeah, for real. There was a line item in the budgets back in the 80s because everybody on the show used them, you know? So they had
fluffers there? Did they bring in fluffers?
I don't know if they had any fluffers, man. But
Martin! Flea Zuffers.
I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one, Mario and Martin, but I do know that they had, you know, money put aside for drugs. But I'm going to keep us. I'm going to keep us going because I've been reading the comments here, and people are saying the same thing. We've speculated, Mario. The WWE TKO are in debt to the tune of billions of dollars. It's official; they're in debt. TKO has multiple lawsuits against them.
3.5 billion. I'm reading.
3.5 billion.
That's a different story. That's a different story.
Yeah.
Then it's not worth continuing, is it, Amir? Is it worth continuing?
Well, could that be why they're just trying to collect and finish up? Because every one of the wrestlers, the top wrestlers, are looking for alternate career paths now. Cody Rhodes has stated he will not be re-signing with the WWE. And I found out that his original dream was to be in Hollywood. So he's following down that path. He's about to kiss the wrestling fans goodbye. Not that he's not a user anyway. He used the Young Bucks. He used Ring of Honor. He used AEW. And now he's using WWE to get to Hollywood. But at the end of the day, CM Punk, obviously, he's making a play to work at Playgirl now, or Playboy magazine, probably, knowing him. So he's making a run for that. Roman Reigns is in and out. He's into Hollywood. He's not. The Rock totally ditched WWE. He's gone. Becky Lynch, she's in Hollywood now. She's going to be in a Star Trek TV series. I'm sure her husband, Mr. Becky Lynch, will follow hanging onto her skirt coattails.
Not with that voice.
What's that?
I said not with his voice.
Not with his voice. But nonetheless, Mario, could it just be that they're making a final money grub with ticket sales, merchandise, before they just say, hey, we're done. We're finished.
You know what? Martin has had, he's had some effect on me here when I think about it. I really don't want that to happen you know, as much as we were professional wrestlers, the one thing they go, they say, what do you miss about professional wrestling? I go, you know what I miss about professional wrestling? I miss being a fan.
Yeah.
And I'll never be a fan again.
Yeah, no, once you're in, that's it. Yeah.
You were in a different, it was all different when you were a fan. You know what I mean? So I miss that, and I feel like, a big part of my life is gone if that goes down. And this sounds sick, but guys like Martin and I, whether we did it publicly or behind everybody's back, would try to get a hold of somebody and go, convince, save this thing. Could he save it? Because listen,
it can't get any worse. And again,
it can get worse, Martin. It's obvious.
So many wild theories. I'm like, there is no way does Hunter and people like that write this show and put it out and go, that's great TV. Like, I refuse to believe that.
There's no way.
I refuse to believe it. So it's like, who is running that place? Because
it's the business. No. You understand what we try to teach the guys at Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, which I get frustrated sometimes.
Is that the name of your school?
Yeah, Paradise Alley.
What an amazing name! I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah, Roma came up with that. He took it from the Stallone movie.
Yeah, from the Stallone movie. Yeah, that's amazing.
We're gonna get a cease and desist letter, Roma. Somebody snitched on us to Stallone and on Twitter when it was Twitter, and Stallone replied, took a page out of my book. I wish you the best of luck. And I said, well, I guess we're not going to get a cease and desist letter. So what I try to tell them, because sometimes I really don't want to be there because they don't get it. When you wrestle and when you get in, Amir, this is very important for you.
Uh-huh.
If you're wrestling for yourself, if you're in the business for yourself, you're not going to last very long.
That's what I've been saying. I'm in it for the fans, my man. I'm in it to entertain.
If you're in it for the business, for the company, you're working for the company and you're working for the business.
Yeah.
You'll be successful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you're for yourself, that was always Hogan's knock. It was all about Hogan, but he became Babe Ruth. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's the business itself
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You want to preserve it. You want to save it. Yeah.
And you want to look at us and go, hey, the wrestling business is going to die. Well, why don't you just rip out my damn heart then? You know what I mean?
I
don't think it's going to die. I don't think it's going to die. But go ahead, Martin.
I'll say to your point, Mario, I have said to Amir before, is that there is two people that need to be happy when you walk through the curtain. The promoter or the booker. And as long as those fans were jumping up and down, screaming, booing, shouting, doing what they were supposed to do. That's what matters.
Well, this is what we've been saying. So, Mario, Martin and I have been deliberating this over the last couple of weeks because obviously I'm hearing stuff that shocks me. Not from every guy out there on the indies, but I've heard some guys, like you said, Mario, they're in it for themselves. They only want to get their little shots. They don't give a shit about entertaining the crowd, unless they do their fancy moves. And again, that's not a wrestler. That's not the mark of a pro wrestler. He should not be concerned with that because the fans are engaged in the
They're
story.
the ones that are paying our wages.
And they're paying. Right. Exactly. So you got a lot of people like that in the business right now, Mario. And a lot of them are getting into the big leagues. A lot of them are there now. They've polluted, infested like a plague, the big companies, and they're not acting like role models either, Mario. That's another problem. You had guys in the past, at least even if they're not in their personal lives, but when they made public appearances, they acted the part. You could send them on Regis Philbin and Kathy Lee and not be embarrassed by what they said. They acted like pros. A lot of these young turds cannot do that anymore. And
that's not even with all the media training in the world.
They can't do it.
Yeah, the performance center on paper should be amazing.
Yeah.
You've got a wealth of knowledge. You've got guys like Terry Taylor, Fit Finlay, Norman Smiley, Mr. Regal is there a lot of the time. Like Shawn Michaels, you've got a wealth of knowledge, but that system is so broken.
Yeah.
It's so broken. I never once got told how to work cameras.
Wow.
Literally, I picked that up from, again, I was trained by Fit Finlay and Dave Taylor and Steve Regal. And, I was trained by them. So I was clued up very early on when I started breaking in. But at no point did they say, okay, you got this one, and that one. Only do all your facials to that one and the Roman cam will pick that up. Do not turn. It's the most broken. And just you'll be with one coach. And then you might be there for like 2-3 months. Then when you go to the next coach, this coach says what that one says is wrong. So you've got to unlearn all that. Because if you don't unlearn what you've just been taught, you're now deemed uncoachable, which is a death sentence. I'm
going to say something right now because, like I said, as we're sitting here, Mario, I'm getting heated because, I'm hearing about what you're talking about, some of these young punks, Martin. Mario, I know you and Paul. I know Paul was whisked onto TV in, 6 weeks? Literally 6 weeks. Was
it not? Okay. I wish there wasn't a developmental. I wish it was, hey, this kid's, he's really good. He's he's got good work. He looks good. Let's bring him in for a dark match. And you get that random call, hey, we need you at TVs this week. So you worked for it that way.
Right. That's right. That's the right way.
That's it.
That's how it should, because you're then getting guys that have got, like, again, pro wrestling was in its boom period, like mid-2000s or like early 2000s, because your mid-card were like 20-plus year vets. They've been all over the world. They knew every style. They worked every... That's why the product is so bad now, because the guys are literally learning from point A to point B and this.
You know what it is? You know what it is? And I see it on the indies. By the way, thank you, Dan. Dan Might says the Masters of Wrestling should take over and clean house. You're absolutely right, Dan. You're looking at two of us. We're going to all take over right here, but Martin and myself, if you want to see us in action, in fact, if you're in WrestleMania week in Las Vegas, the Fixer and the Master will be in action in Las Vegas. So if you want to see us in the ring, make sure you're out there WrestleMania week. But yeah, one of the things is, Mario, I think people can be over-trained, over-prepared to the point where they scrutinize. I've heard of Mario. I have literally heard people saying they forget one thing, which I think is bullshit too. You should not script out a damn match. You should be able to call it on the fly. You should call it a couple of moves and you're finished, and that's it. Figure out the rest. Otherwise, you're not listening to the crowd. Number one. Number two, they get so emotional because they missed one move. That's pathetic. That is pathetic right there, because if the crowd was loving it, and like you said, Martin, if the promoter loves it, that means that person's been overtrained. All this bullshit, Mario, of, oh, no, we're going to keep you here. We're going to keep you on NXT for the next friggin' 5 years. If you're not ready in 5 years, you need to get the F out.
I mean, look at Donovan Dijak. I booked the guy. I booked him for Paradise Alley when he was independent. I thought he was outstanding.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I thought he was outstanding. I'm like, what happened to Dijak? Oh, he had his shot. He screwed it up. I'm like, look, you just don't get one shot. You know what I mean? They bring you along. That's BS, man. That's BS. You know what I mean? Listen, I was fortunate. You know what I mean? I'm 18 years old, albeit TV. I'm 18 years old, and I'm standing there trying to compose myself because I'm watching Harley Race come down the aisle, and I'm like, yeah, I'm wrestling Harley Race. Okay. All right, I'm going to wrestle Harley Race. Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? I was watching this guy, looking at him on the cover of my wrestling magazine when I was 8 years old, covering blood. You know what I mean?
Mario,
10 years later, I'm wrestling the guy. It's crazy.
Mario, you know what it is? I just figured out. It's brainwashing, my man. Brainwash. If you keep someone down long enough, oh no, we're not going to give you a match. No. You need another 3 friggin' years. It's 3 years, because then when they finally get to that place, like you said, Mario, you in there with the likes of Harley Race. You know what you did? It was called tough love. Throw you in at the deep end. Learn, right? Because at the end of the day, what happens? What happens to a child, right, Mario?
That's what it was.
Right. But you learned, and look how talented your entire generation was.
Listen, Danny Davis started putting up those rings when he was 14 years old.
Yeah.
And he would put that hood on, and he would be Mr. X, and and they showed him a few things, but he learned on the road.
Yeah.
When the arena was empty, and then they put him in matches, and you learn more and more and more and more and more and more. Listen, the first time I was ever exposed to this was in 2013.
Okay.
Tony Atlas and I just happened to be sitting in a dressing room in an independent show. And we're sitting there, and there's this tag team next to us, and they're going over a match. I looked at Atlas, and I said, hey, T.
I'd have loved to have been a fly on the wall for that.
I said, T, what are they doing? Yeah. He goes, they're going over the map, brother. I go, going over what? They're going over the match. I go, Pat pulled my pecker. No, he's going over the match. So I told him he should get T-shirts and stuff when he didn't listen to me.
He should have.
So he would have made a fortune.
Oh, yes. So we're listening, and I get up. I couldn't help myself. I got between them, and they just looked at me. I go, what'd you guys have for breakfast?
Yeah.
I go, why? I go, why don't you just throw that in too?
Yeah.
I had 2 eggs, bacon. I had a couple pieces of toast. Then I went to the shower. After I got out of the shower, I dried off. After I dried off, I brushed my teeth. I used mouthwash on both sides of my mouth. Then I combed my hair. I used some mousse. I go, throw all that shit in there too.
Yeah.
I go over a high spot in the finish.
That's
do it all in there.
That's
and they're like, what? And you know, there's no respect. You know what it is? Who was that? That's Mario Mancini, a dinosaur. That's what I am. That. Listen, I went to an listen to this, Martin. I go to scout. I said, Roma, I'm going to an all-female show in upstate Connecticut to scout some talent because we have no females. Tag team match. The girl that was getting the heat on her, made her own comeback and left her partner outside the ring.
Oh, on the ring.
And I went, oh.
Yeah.
After the match, I go back there. I go, I need to speak to the both of you. I go, I've never seen that before in my life. Do you know you have a tag team partner for a reason? They get the heat up on you. You give her the hot tag.
Mm-hmm.
I go, it's been like that since pro wrestling was created.
It's common
She's
bloody
like,
sense. Yeah.
This swear to God what happened. She looked at me up and down. She walked away.
The heck.
She walked away, right? So the other girl was listening to me and I look out of the side of my eye, and she's complaining about me down away a little bit and talking to somebody. After she got done talking to somebody, she came back up and said, I'm sorry, you were saying. I go, oh, you ready to listen now?
Yeah.
You ready to listen now? I go, listen, you're wrestling to the crowd. You're wrestling for the match. You have a partner. I go, the most exciting thing in a tag team match is
build into the hot tag.
the hot tag.
Yeah.
And you know what they don't do anymore either?
What?
They don't do false tags. Listen, I did it every tag team match. It worked like a charm every time. So I have the guy have me in a front face lock, and I slowly start working my way to the corner. Working my way to the corner. I'd be this close to the tag, and the other heel would come in. Referee would turn his back. I'd tag my partner. He'd come in to clean house, and the referee would turn around and go, hey, no, get back. The fans, he tagged him. I saw it. He tagged him. I didn't see it. And the referee, it's all sign language, right? I didn't see a tag. I didn't see a tag, you know.
Simple.
And to that point, even in this day and age of where wrestling is, the greatest pound for pound tag team on any television is a Revival.
Okay.
Because they do simple stuff like that. Their matches are so exciting. And I a bit biased because I do know them both, and I was a part of the system with them. But they got so much praise when they got up on the main roster, because when they started working with Randy Orton, they're two guys that really don't call much. They're like, oh, well, we'll just see what happens out there. And Randy's like, wait, what? You do that? So it's like that. But they do certain, again, there's false tags, there's like distractions. Then it's just, their stuff is so exciting to watch.
Fantastic.
You know what it is, guys? It's because they're not immersed anymore. I use this word immersed. It's like method acting. They're not immersed in what they're doing out there anymore. They're too much in here because they've been pre-programmed like robots to think that they have to pre-plan every single thing backstage.
Spot monkeys.
Yeah.
Spot monkeys. Exactly.
And again, like we live in that world now where people are so much involved on their smartphones that, yes, I get it. You've got to get their attention. But you can still use, you can learn how to work, but you can still use so much of what was done by great talents that paved the way for us, stuff that worked. Okay. Stuff with punches and trying to hide it behind the ref. You can't do that now because a punch isn't illegal, but you can do it with an eye rake. You can do it with a choke. Like, you can still do stuff without having to call it out there. It's
you know what I'm going to say though, Martin. I'm going to defend the best generation of all, not this one, of course. If social media had existed in the 90s, I'm telling you now, every wrestler, but they kept kayfabe, wrestling would still be 10 times, if not 20 times more popular than it is right now, because people would have a reason to latch on. Mario, they have nothing to latch onto.
There's no
anymore.
Characters. There's no stars. Stars that are left in wrestling are the guys that, Randy Orton, Roman, they've been around for years.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, because I don't watch it.
Yeah. You're not missing anything, Mario.
It frustrates me. The last time I took 10 minutes to watch it, I heard glass break, and the whole freaking place went nuts. Yep. Nuts. And out comes Stone Cold Steve Austin. Is there anybody there today that does that? No. Martin's shaking his head no.
No one.
There is no, and again, if you do get a chance to watch Glimpse for 5 minutes, right? And I say this to everyone, I was like, when I was a kid, I watched wrestling because I saw these larger than life characters, and I was like, man, I want to be a wrestler. There is maybe one or two out of that entire company where I know a kid will watch them walk out and they'll go, I want to be just like that.
Yeah.
One of them looks like Conan the Barbarian from Scotland, who's Drew McIntyre, and the other one is a Samoan, Jacob Fatu. They are the only two that I will lay my bottom dollar on. That if a kid saw them walk out, do their thing, they go, what's that?
Oh,
Everyone
yeah,
else,
for sure.
That's it. Like, just walk out.
But, yeah, we got a super chat came in, Mario, for Martin right here, from Archie Lee, our dear channel member right here. Archie Lee, Mr. Stone. I like the way he dresses you, Martin. Mr. Stone.
Yeah, thank you, Archie.
I have to say, the Revival needed to face the Briscoe brothers to be as good as they are. He's what he's saying.
Again, you're only as good as your dance partner when it's a long set of tandem matches. Revival did need that because some of the storylines they were put in and the quality of the tag teams that they had worked up to that point were nowhere as good as the Briscoes. And those boys, them boys, again, unfortunately, one of them passed away, Jay. Those were three of the greatest tag matches I've seen in the last 15 years. And this is modern day wrestling. Like, those are the ones that I know you could watch and appreciate, Mario. They are absolutely fantastic matches. They really are.
I think you have to send some tomorrow. If you're new to the channel, if you haven't done so already, powerplex that subscribe button. Feel the power right here on Power and Glory, the podcast, with us, the leaders of sports entertainment podcast, the masters of wrestling. There's a reason they call us the masters, ladies and gentlemen. And we want you to be right there with us in this master-filled environment of truth, hardcore truth. Someone put in the comments here that Triple H is treating wrestlers like children today and hiring a bunch of, for lack of a better term, overgrown teenagers, Mario. I mean, it's safe to say, Mario, that at 18 years of age, even though you were probably not mature on some levels, you were probably a damn sight tougher than some of these weaklings that they hire today.
Well, July 31st, 1984 was my first match in Poughkeepsie against Valentine. And then I was home, obviously, on August 9th in the morning, and Terry Garvin called me and said, we need you in Warwick, Rhode Island tonight at the amphitheater in West Warwick, Rhode Island. I said, okay. And I looked up at the chief was there, and he was the agent. And I looked up at the board, and it said Schultz v. Mancini. And David Schultz broke my nose in two places. And I brought my best friend from high school with me. I still had my 1965 Chrysler Newport I drove to high school with. I went to the show with, and we went to get into the car in a very dark parking lot, and a dome light came on. And he went, hey, and he had a few. And he went, hey, man, your nose is all over your face. I'm like, yeah. He goes, I thought there was something wrong. He goes, because everybody was cheering because it was my comeback.
Yeah.
Everybody was cheering. He goes, but when he hit you, the whole place went silent. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we don't know if that was supposed to happen. So my point is this. 3 weeks later, right after the packing, I took the packing out myself. The doctor didn't. I went to Hamilton, Ontario for TV, and I looked up at the board and it said Schultz v. Mancini. And I went into the men's room, and I went to a stall, and I closed it, and I just sat down, and I go, what do I do? What do I do? What am I going to do? And listen, I tell the truth. You want to judge me, you go ahead and judge me.
Uh-huh.
I was sitting there like this. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? If I leave and I say I'm not going to do it, I'm done. I'm through. What do I do? And something came over me, and I got out of that stall, and I went up to David. I said, David, we're working tonight. You can break it again. I don't care. Break it again. I'll just get it reset again. Just break it again. No, boy, calm down, boy.
Yeah.
But, okay, calm down now. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to apologize to you on national TV. 18.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, right on national TV, boy. I'm going to apologize to you. Okay. Go out there. He puts his arm. It's on YouTube.
Okay.
He puts his arms out like this. Says, I'm sorry for breaking your nose. Shakes my hand and slaps me clear across the face. Hard.
Yeah.
The match was over. He was waiting for me. He didn't go back to the dressing room. He was waiting for me in Gorilla. And I came through that curtain and he looked at me and had a big smile on his face. And I just started laughing.
Yeah.
And we hugged. And he went like this to my hair and he goes, "You're a tough kid." That's all I needed to do. That's all I needed is for David Schultz to tell me I'm a tough kid.
Yeah.
That was it. That was good.
Again,
That was good. That
slap
was
heard around the world that still
Right.
echoes to this day.
Right. So you're right. You're right, Amir. I mean, I was a boy in a man's world, and even Vince was shocked.
Yeah.
He didn't know. So when we cut from Tuesday Night Titans, when he goes, Mario, what makes you want to sign a contract to wrestle with the likes of King Kong Bundy? I go, well, Vince, I'm only 18 years old, and I did the interview, and then when we were cut, he goes, "You're only 18?" I go, "Yeah." I go. And this was I think this was May of '85. He goes, "When are you going to be 19?" I go, "Next month." I go, "Is this a problem?" He goes, "No, I just didn't know you were 18 years old." I'm like, yeah. I'm 18. That's
You're
why
right.
when I look like the Pillsbury Doughboy, I go to people, "Hey, listen, sorry I didn't start seriously slamming weights when I was 12. I
Right.
apologize." Freaking 6 weeks after I turned 18, I'm in the freaking. I'm sorry I didn't start hanging and banging hard. You know what I mean? So, but as the years went on, and as I got smart with steroids and everything, by the time I worked with Taker in 89, 90, 91, I started competing in powerlifting competitively. So I got my act together there. So I walked around the dressing room. Chief used to go, "Oh, Mr. Roma, can I see you for a minute?" I go, no, not yet, Chief. I'm not there yet. He used to break my stones and call me Mr. He was all pumped up. You know what I mean? Listen, I think you make an extraordinary point, which really breaks my heart, because it was a tough business, and you got measured by that. You got tested. You got stretched. They stretched you. You got tested on your toughness back then. And you made an extraordinary point. If they're not doing that anymore, listen, Martin will tell you, there were legitimate tough guys.
Yeah.
And then you had entertainers.
Yeah.
You didn't mess with Rick Rude. Rick Rude fought bare knuckles before he got into wrestling.
Yeah.
That's a legitimate
wrestling champion, so he's just going to rip your throat out. Yeah.
Right. So you got Rick Rude. You got Billy Jack Haynes, who, I don't know. The rumors were he did time before he got into the wrestling business. Of course, you had Haku.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Enough said. You know what I mean? You had legitimate tough guys there. And then you had entertainers.
Yeah.
You had
but the difference also, Mario, was up here. Now you've got guys like Mr. Becky Lynch, who cries and whines just because, one of the greatest minds in wrestling left, Vince Russo, says a few, things about him, saying, I don't think he doesn't know what he is. He doesn't know if he's a face or a heel. He doesn't know how to act like it. A few other things, and he cries about it on a podcast. This is what I'm saying to you. Back then, guys weren't triggered by every single word that was said about him backstage.
Well, that's just the thing. I have a guy that's not with Paradise Alley anymore, and he's a good entertainer and a tough guy on top of it. And Triple H's assistant comes down every September to scout.
Mm-hmm.
That's how Brad Baylor got in.
Okay.
We have one girl who's 22 that's going to be at the Performance Center by next year. There's no doubt in my mind. So Gabe already scouted her. You know what I mean? And when the wrestlers come out to get critiqued, that's what he says. He goes, "I don't know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who you are." The worst part, which I tell them all year, because I listen to the critiques,
Yeah.
and I said, "Listen, Gabe told you to change your body.
Mm-hmm.
When he comes back here in September and he sees you in the same shape, don't even waste your money. Keep your $99. He's not even going to consider you because you didn't listen.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't listen." And I yell at them and say, and especially when they got to do jobs, they're talking to the wrong guy when it comes to doing jobs.
Yeah.
Oh, you're upset because you got to do a job. Let me tell you something. I 6-man tag teamed against Terry Funk, Dory Funk Jr., and Jimmy Jack Funk. And I took it. And when I took it, they cow-tied my ankles and my wrists.
Mm-hmm.
They pulled my trunks down and branded my ass. FB for Funk Brothers.
Right.
I tried to keep my father away from that TV. I did everything I could. I couldn't. He watched that match, and I looked over at him, and his eyes just filled with tears.
Yeah.
And I went, Dad, it's a work. It's a work. It's a work, Dad. It's a work. He couldn't comprehend that. He just walked away and went like this. And so when anybody complains about doing a job, you're complaining to the wrong guy. So listen, I'm guilty of it too, because when that wrestling school opened in 2014, I was ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and ready to go when I trained in 1983 was, okay, 15 Beals, 15 hip tosses, 15 in the hard way, then reverse it. You take a 45 bumps at once. So I started teaching. I said, here we go. I started doing it, and they couldn't get up. Get up or get out. Get up. Roma came behind me. Right into my ear, he goes, "You can't teach that way anymore." I go, "What?" He goes, "You can't do that anymore, Mario." I go, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "We won't have one student. You can't do that anymore."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true. But again, that's a pandemic that we're living in right now. Fortunately, there are still some of us out there who do, still understand things. When you talked about not doing a job, I mean, I can understand if somebody's constantly, if that's not their role. But every so often, you got to lose, I mean, but that's the other thing. Are some of these kids just not grown up enough? They're delusional. They believe in their own hype. They believe it's real. It's not. So again, you're doing a performance. Am I wrong or am I right, Martin? It's a performance. Sometimes you're the winner, sometimes you're the loser. It's as simple as that.
Paul Roma, nobody wins and nobody loses. You're not the heavyweight champion. You didn't win that belt. It was given to you. Yeah. It was given to you.
Yeah.
It's a work. That belt is a prop.
Yeah.
It's a prop.
Yeah.
They can't get it through their heads.
They can't.
You know what I say?
What?
To new champions in my company, I go up and put my arm around them the end of the night when they got the belt. Like,
you don't do this, do you, Mario? Like Uncle Paul? You don't.
I put my arm around them and I go, listen, it's a beautiful belt. Oh, Mario, that's a beautiful belt. I go, yeah. Sooner or later, you're gonna have to give it back. I go, yeah. I don't want any white stains on it or anything. I know you're going to sleep with it tonight, so just make sure when you go off, the belt's away from it, because I don't know if I can get that out of leather. So make sure you don't do that to the belt, okay? but yeah, come on, you know what I mean? Listen, when that company started off, Roma was the heavyweight champion. Myself and Big Steve, 6'6", 438 pounds at the time. We were tag team champions. Well, guess who took the heat all the time and got the hot tag and just came in and went like this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Him.
Yeah.
So now, at the time, I'm 48 years old in 2014, and we had them for like 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I went up to the Battle Brothers. I said, "You're getting these belts tonight."
Mm-hmm.
And Steve goes, "Well, what do you mean?" I go, "I don't want these things anymore." I go, I can't walk.
Right.
I'm taking a beating. I go, "I don't want these things anymore." I set up the whole psychology. It was made the referee heel. Martin, one of these, right? They go, I go to get a 2 count on them, and the ref goes. But when they go to do a false finish on me, he goes,
yeah.
And I get up and complain to the ref, and they ended up getting it. You know,
Yeah.
and it made a whole storyline, and we trained the referee a little bit, and because the fans were waiting to see a rematch for us to take the belts back, but we made it a 6-man tag team match, so that wasn't going to happen. So, you know, I didn't want those those things didn't mean anything to me.
Right. Yeah.
Listen,
I
in
was gonna
pro
say,
wrestling,
technically,
at the
when
highest,
I became NXT Tag Team Champion, I made less money than when I was on the road on
and Mark, I
205.
can't believe you just said that, because the point when you get up to that level to have a belt is the money, not the belt.
Right.
And he just stole my thunder.
I'm
Yep.
I'm sorry, my bad.
I
I
can't believe
always
that.
tell people that, and they look at me and they're like, "Wait, what?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
That doesn't
I
make
made
sense.
less."
That doesn't make sense.
It's, I don't know.
That doesn't make sense at all. That doesn't make sense at all. It doesn't make sense at all.
It's crazy. One other thing, obviously, we're going to keep promoting JCW, Mario. So Vince Russo is running JCW now. I see a lot of comments came in earlier about it. They do their shows on Thursdays on YouTube, so you can check it out. It's more of a sports entertainment show, Mario. It's a throwback. There are characters in that, and Vince Russo just got on board. He's been building the company.
Maybe Jim Cornette come in and help him. No.
Oh, no, they don't. Mario, you know the history between the two of them. No, absolutely not. I was going to say, Jim Cornette does not, he's very opinionated right there.
Yeah, Jim Cornette is falling apart a little bit.
I don't know why he's so angry. I don't know why he's so angry.
He's very, and I love him. I met him once. We had a long walk in that hotel, believe it or not. It was a long walk, and I walked with him every step, and I just loved him. He was a funny guy. I just loved him, and I love that he's a wrestling historian. I'm a wrestling historian. You know, when I started watching wrestling, I was watching Stan Stasiak, Stan Hansen, Big Cat Ernie Ladd, the Mighty Igor, Haystacks Calhoun, you know, Andre. I was watching Strongbow, and I was watching the fat Ivan Putski. You know, I go back, and I even go back and watch Gotch and all Jimmy Lundis and all those guys. You know what I mean? So on YouTube, I watched them. I wasn't alive to watch them, but I was alive to watch those other guys. So I have a lot of respect for Cornette. He's a great wrestling guy, but he does get very angry. He'll always be my guy, because when Holiday came back down with his illness, he was literally in tears on his show, literally choked up. And so Holiday overcame that. It's been a few years now, and he's good to go. Obviously, he just signed with NXT. So, and I got angry at that, Martin. I'm like, because he's been at this for 12 years now. And he called me up. He goes, "Mario," because he knows me. He goes, "I don't want you to get angry." He goes, "Mario, don't pop my bubble." I'm like, what? I got signed at NXT. I go, "What?" He goes, "Listen, I got my foot in the door. I go, "You should be up with the main roster. You should be up with the main roster, not NXT. You should be up there in the main roster." He goes, "Look, I knew you would be like this." He goes, "But please be happy for me." and I just changed my tune, and I was happy for the kid. And
I mean, it all came out as well. So they tried to. Dave Finley Jr., Fitz kid, they signed him, and they said, "Oh, you can come to NXT." And he went, "No, thanks." Went to AEW.
Wow. Listen, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
listen, Steve Blackman,
Richard Holiday is ready made.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
He's ready made.
He's ready to go. Ready to go.
He's ready to go.
He's ready to go.
That's also his downfall because they haven't created him.
Well,
that's
you know what?
If they I swear to God, that is how that place thinks. They'll probably change his name.
That's terrible.
May be lucky, and he may get to keep it.
That's terrible because Martin, I called Tony Khan's lawyer, and I said, "Listen, if AEW uses that term rarefied air one more time, we're going to sue you."
Oh, is that Holiday's move or term?
Yeah. And well, does he have it registered? Does he have it? I go, no. This is common law trademark. Common law trademark is who used it first.
Yeah.
And you can go back. You can go back 5 years, and 6 years. You're breathing rarefied air. And
speaking of that, Mario. Speaking of that, I'm going to do a little plug for an upcoming episode Martin and I have got next week because we actually have a guy who has been ripped off to the hilt by some WWE players. And we're going to break the news right here. We're having him on the show with us. He's going to tell you the original date when he created all this information, like you're talking about, the original date of creation, and it dates back almost a decade. And WWE are ripping him off left, right.
Listen, common law trademark. You can prove that, you're good. It's common law trademark.
That's what I was saying.
So he's got the signature move.
Yep.
And I go, you should be up at the main roster. I don't know why you're not. And he's like, please don't. I just happy to get my foot.
There's a few people down there that I can't work out why they're still there.
No,
Ethan Page is just like charisma out the heels, can talk people in a building, but he's still there. He's still down there. Like,
I gotta ask you guys this. Okay, 4 matches on a pay-per-view. How in the hell are any of these guys gonna get used? How?
You can't.
You can't.
You can't.
You can't.
The only good thing is that with this merger, probably part of the reason they're trying to justify why they're charging so much for tickets is how much they're paying people. So at least, even if they're there for like 3 years and you're getting $250 a year, if you're smart with your money, there's no house shows. So
I wouldn't want to work for that company, Martin. Honestly,
I'm talking about guys that are there. Like, again, they don't run house show loops, so they've only got to pay their
they're wasted, my man.
Their rental car and hotel for one night. So they're not paying out the hundreds and thousands of dollars they used to when they were on the road 300 days a year. Because obviously the company, when you're on the main roster, they only take care of your flight to and your flight back. So if you're on a loop, you're paying your own hotels and stuff, which again, that going into it, it's a touring, or it was a touring company, but you were making enough money to cover that. The guys now don't have to spend it out as much. So that's a blessing. So I wish I'll wait for Mario to come back with what I want to say.
Sounds like a waste of life when you get a deal like that.
The biggest thing that I think hurts the wrestling business, not so much with AEW, well, I'm not 100% sure. The minute WWE went publicly traded, being able to organically get over that. The numbers are really good when this guy's on top, so just keep him there. Yeah, but this guy is like really connecting. It don't matter. But that's also the biggest crime in the world. Myself and my ex-tag partner, we were not designed to get over. We could have a match with anyone, and we could make anyone look good. And our first pay-per-view thing we did, we turned the crowd halfway through it, and then it didn't matter how we were booked after that. We always got cheered out of the building. And that's the only reason we were there for as long as we were.
Yeah, well, those days are definitely gone.
It was also a problem because we weren't designed to get over.
Well, we know WWE does that.
Yeah,
But I'm
100%
going to interest. I'll tell you what, Mario, keep us updated with the situation because we often talk about Tony Khan. I'm sure he's going to throw a temper tantrum in his playpen a little bit later tonight when he knows that potentially they're going to get a lawsuit from you guys for infringement of Richard Holiday's.
I
no,
can't
they
hate on
stopped.
Tony
They
Khan.
stopped. They
They
stopped.
stopped. They stopped.
This was my offer. $100,000 for the use of it,
Okay.
or you bring him into the company and book him.
And those scumbags chose the other way. Wow.
And they just stopped. They just stopped using it.
Wow. Well, at least
So-
you nipped that in the bud.
Yeah, I mean, what's his name was using it? The Fozzy guy. Who's that?
Chris Jericho?
Yeah, Jericho was using it. Rarefied air.
Wow. Chris
Yeah.
Jericho was using it, of all people.
Yeah.
We know he's in a hot seat right now. His contract's been frozen by Tony Khan because he's afraid that he'll lose him to WWE, and he knows he needs to keep him. Otherwise, it's all downhill. I mean, it's already downhill, but it can't go. I mean, it'll continue rolling to the bottom pit. But, at the end of the day, I don't know. Viewers, write us. Let us know what you think about all this that we've discussed today. If you comment here, all these comments are going to disappear once the live stream ends. So you're going to have to comment again in the comments section. So make sure you do that. If you're new to the channel, if you haven't done so already, don't be a coward. Hit that subscribe button. It is free. Hit the likes. Hype the video. Help us get into that algorithm. Remember, the algorithm is not working for anybody. We need to generate it to work for us. So we need you to like the video. We need you to share the video. We need you to tell your friends and family, hey, blast us out on other podcasts. Talk about us in other podcasts. When you comment on another podcast, drop our name in there too. You know what I mean? We're creating a movement here, ladies and gentlemen. You're part of the masters of professional wrestling right here. Mario, any closing statements from you for this episode?
Listen, it's been a while. I wanted to get back on. I contacted you. I'd like to get Power and Glory up and running again.
We are pre-records. Yep.
As I said to you, Amir, I mean, I'm getting a lot of inquiries. Hey, where's the podcast? Hey, where's the podcast? Hey, where's the podcast?
That's fantastic.
Well, yeah, I had a guy take the name of the podcast down. I was getting my oil changed, and this guy walked in. He was like 6'7".
Yeah.
And anytime I see somebody like that, I just blurt out. I go, if I had that, I would have been a millionaire.
Yep.
Yeah.
If I had that, I would have been a millionaire.
He's about an inch shorter than you and I, Martin.
Yeah, and he just starts, and he just starts talking, and we just started talking, and I told him what I did and everything, and he was a huge wrestling fan.
Yeah,
and he wanted to know about Brett getting screwed and all that stuff, and all that happy stuff, and we just had, and he's like, look, what's your podcast, man? I'll put it down right now. You know what I mean? So we really got to get back to it. And,
we will. Like I said, we will, Mario.
To get your oil changed, then that's being pulled up. Yeah.
I mean, I want to.
We will
get back to it.
So we're going to be doing. Sorry, go ahead, Mario.
I have some other gripes too. I want to get to. Somebody tried to tank me up and send me an interview that was done a year ago by this individual that actually used to train people. And when they used to come to us and told me that he trained them, I always talked very fondly of the guy. If you notice, I really don't talk about, you know what I mean? Unless somebody attacks me, or that BS I went through with The Undertaker.
Yeah.
Upset me. I really don't. I'm not one of those guys that come out and go this one, that one, that, you know what I mean? I don't care. But he was doing this interview on a worthless podcast, and he was talking about Roma a little bit, and he goes, and Mancini, he was a good hand. He was a good hand. He was a good hand. No athlete. But I'm like, I mean, if you have no athleticism, you can't do this business.
Right. Yeah, pretty much.
You can't do this business at all. I'm going, listen, I was an amateur wrestler, I was a baseball player, football player, and professional wrestler. Okay. Oh, right. I don't have, I wasn't an athlete. Okay. And I'm like, dude, all I ever did when anybody dropped your name to me is put you over. You know what I mean? That's all I would do is put the guy over. You know what I mean? And that's what you do to most people that you have to do with most people. You know what I mean? It's like even when Hogan died, all the news outlets in Connecticut got a hold of me because they called Roma first.
Mm.
Roma said, I have nothing to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have nothing to say. And they got a hold of me. And I have fond memories of Hulk Hogan. You know what I mean? He
The
was
greatest,
always, he was always good with me. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I don't have any complaints with him. You know what I mean? So, but I put people over. If you want to talk privately, then but publicly to shit on somebody like that. You know what I mean? But
there were some assholes who did that. Some scumbag promoters that I saw who really said some horrible things about Hulk Hogan, and they, I mean, not just personal jabs. They never met the man, but they made you don't speak ill of the dead. Number one, big rule.
No, and that's
right?
the thing. I knew Terry, and I owe him a lot because not as much as Roma. Roma helped me a lot, but Terry's the guy. I was in L.A. and he was working out with Brian Blair.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to Hogan in Pig Latin, I said, look at all the bras in this place. And he goes, you like that, huh, Eminem? I went, yeah. He goes, good. Now you work out with me. Oh. And they drilled me into the ground, into submission in the gym, into submission. And Hogan literally had to pick me up.
Right.
And he put his arm around me and walked away from Blair. And he goes, when you come in here, it's not playtime. It's business.
No. Right.
He goes, when you come in here, it's business, Eminem, okay? I'm like, all right. So he was, he always gave me encouragement, He gave me encouragement. So, did he talk enough to give me a push? Hell no.
I gotta drop another bombshell here outside of the wrestling world, but it does affect it before we get to you, Martin, as we close out. Netflix made an announcement today, okay? That old Benny Affleck, the man himself, the former Hollywood star, as I like to call him, Ben Affleck invented an AI program, Mario, about 3 years ago. And Netflix just acquired it. And they just made him the head of that department, which means now the AI is going to become involved with all Netflix productions, meaning they put out the generic statement, nobody's going to lose their jobs, which translated people means a lot of people are going to lose their jobs.
Well, and that's another thing, Martin. Professional wrestling, with AI, do we really need human beings anymore? Do you think those AI characters, I mean, you can kill live wrestling, but as far as the TV goes and ratings,
don't need it.
Do you need human beings anymore?
Nope.
You can create two Incredible Hulks to go at it, right?
Well, you see where I'm going with this, Mario? Okay. So you price the fans out of the tickets. Don't need ticket sales anymore. Netflix just acquired this new program done by Benny Affleck, the man who's obviously he's looked out for himself his whole career. You can see that going back to Good Will Hunting. So now he gets involved. They're going to start using it for shows. Well, Martin, doesn't Netflix pretty much own a portion of WWE? So now what's to stop them from using this AI program to produce Raw?
Didn't WWE hire some guy who's like a whiz with... I'm sure they hired someone who was working on AI for creative storytelling.
I rest my case, my man. I rest my case. Tell you what, Mario, you and I covered this a few months ago with an AI program. Guess what? No travel, no injuries, no scandals. Clean sweep, cash, profit.
That's it. That's it.
100%.
No paydays.
No paydays, no contracts. 100% profit.
Yeah.
Characters that never age, Mario. They never need to get on the gas and they never need to come off.
No.
So, I mean, hey, I'm just saying, hey, students, we may be developing that program right here. So we may actually be the ones to launch it. But anyway, just saying. But again, very sad state. I think you'll always need human beings. I think live attractions will always go. Pro wrestlers, they need to be live. Fans need to be able to meet people, at least for the next 2 generations. After that, I don't know, probably not. But at this point, we're just here to try and keep wrestling alive in some form or fashion here and to spearhead it in the future. Martin, have you got any closing statements? We got 2 hours. You got any closing statements for us?
Sir, it has been an absolute pleasure to talk to you and listen to you, and just it's amazing to know that there are still genuine pro wrestlers out there. So this has been an absolute pleasure.
It's been my pleasure meeting you, Martin. I listen, anybody who walks through in that ring and can accomplish what you accomplished and risk, we all take the risk. You get my respect all day long. So it was a pleasure.
Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's a pleasure having you here. Of course, too, you'll be back together in future episodes. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, Powerplex that subscribe button. Mario and I, hopefully with Paul, we'll do some pre-records for Power and Glory. They'll be up next week. Martin and I have got some pre-recorded Master Fix episodes coming out, so make sure you tune into those. I think we got another one coming out tomorrow. I got some more Masterclass. We got some Ultimate Truth podcasts. We got a bunch for you. That's why we are the Masters of Wrestling, and that's why we need you to hit that like button, subscribe, hype the video, and again, join and become part of the channel member for just $4.99 a month. But until next time, from all of us here on Power and Glory, the podcast, I want to say God bless each and every one of you in the name of Jesus Christ, Yeshua, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Students, your time has come. I have decided that it's time to share some of my knowledge with you. That's right. Do you want to become a true, legendary professional wrestling character? Do you want to learn how to project your voice, to enunciate, to come up with the greatest promos that you possibly could? Then you need to join me each and every week for just $50. I am hosting a masterclass on Zoom. That's right. You don't have to travel. You can do it from the comfort of your own home. I will teach you how to become the greatest character you can be. I will help you discover who you truly are. I will help you with taglines, promos, etc., etc. Join me for just $50 a week in a masterclass of wrestling character development. There's a reason they call us the Masters of Wrestling.